in a number of African countries, what we have done is create a gold mining sector, and also to some extent diamonds. So that gold and diamonds benefit from the fact that they have relatively small footprints. They impact relatively few communities, so the engagement with local stakeholders is simpler than it is in a more bulk commodity type mineral. And what also happens is you have less reliance on bigger infrastructure. So you're less dependent on an effective road network and a large network of either rail or large ports to move product around, which is especially the case in something like coal and iron ore. And to some extent, and sort of as an intermediate, moving copper and cobalt and some of the base metals also it depends on a bit more infrastructure than is sometimes available. So we've tended to see more gold mines established in Africa than we have base metal mines outside of the copper belt, where obviously we've resolved some of those issues. The demand though is a lot for base metals. So there are places where an improvement in general infrastructure will be required, and we'll hopefully see the improvement of road and rail networks and also the improvement of some of the port infrastructure. And I think what is quite important is to see an improvement in the ability to cross borders efficiently. I think a number of our borders in sub-Saharan Africa are it can be quite time consuming to cross the border. So hopefully we can see improvements in cross-border logistics. I think some of the commodity trading houses are becoming quite good at logistics. So I think that's somewhere that's hopefully some of their input can improve logistics generally for the industry. That would probably be one of the major hindrances. I think maybe counterbalancing that a little bit is as we move more towards hybrid power, there's actually less demand on fuel movements. So currently a lot of the gold mines have to move large quantities of fuel, which creates quite a heavy burden on roads and other infrastructure. And I think as we move more towards hybrid power and renewables, we'll see less trucking of fuel, and perhaps that'll also free up some capacity to move some of the more bulk commodity, also base metals and other things. So hopefully those are some of the improvements we'll see over the next decade.
You will see these commodities, green metals, base metals, precious metals across the whole continent, but with specific interest within Western Africa and Southern Africa. Now, these commodities we're talking about are basically copper, the lithium, the cobalt. Now, when you zoom into West Africa, there's a lot of interest now in lithium, where they're currently exploring on a massive scale. You see that within Ivory Coast and in Ghana. But Ghana is becoming more of a flag star because they have gotten to the point of a pre-feasibility studies, where there are a lot of investors looking within adjacent places where they've currently been found. When you get to Congo, we have a scenario whereby most of these commodities you can find, probably apart from lithium, but you can find copper, you can find gold, you can find cobalt in abundance. And that is beginning to attract also a lot of investors in that regard.
SRK's business model is set on collaboration between our consulting practices globally. Especially in the DRC, we've realized that we need to collaborate between South Africa, bring in our Beijing office as well as our DRC office to service our clients in the best way possible. As an example, we have brought in a resource from our Beijing office to provide additional expertise and service to our Chinese clients in the DRC, because we do find that to be quite an important market, and also to conserve a cultural understanding of good business practices. The SRK Consulting practices from the DRC, South Africa and from our China office will be at the Mining Week in the DRC, as well as at the Mining Indaba, to meet all our important clients, including our Chinese clients. And our focus will not only be on mining, but also all the infrastructure that are required to ensure that mining can take place in a sustainable manner in the DRC.
Top of mind with investors currently is decarbonisation. It's driving a lot of the demand for minerals, and it's also driving a change in practices by mines themselves that obviously have to decarbonise on the way. What we have in Africa though is we have quite a lot of knowledge on environmental and social and governance practices. A lot of best practices being developed here. We have a long history in mining codes, and we've made real progress in terms of engaging with stakeholders and creating a more reputable industry. And that's allowed us to open and operate mines in a way that many other regions haven't done. So I'm optimistic that the industry can continue to grow and improve. I'm optimistic that we'll be able to supply a number of those metals and minerals that are being demanded, and we'll be able to do it in a way that investors are satisfied that we're meeting ESG requirements, and also currently importantly is that we're able to also build tailings dams and manage and monitor them successfully.